at some point, I am going to look myself in the mirror and say, if you believe in everything you're telling other people to believe in, then you're not going to hold fast to the caterpillar phase. Like, you got to go into your cocoon.
Most conversations about connection tell you what to think. But are easy answers ever enough? I'm Keith Richardson. With my co-host Gerren Taylor, this is More in Common. Honest conversations about what keeps us apart and what doesn't have to. Come think with us. But like that idea of regret, I think as you close it, that I had never thought of it that way, because I think so many of us, you think back to those decisions, right? If you regret a hard decision for the decision, you often will get stuck in that decision loop forever, and then it will be hard to find new cocoons to blossom out of. And it's not so many as I think about the regrets that I have, it's not that the decision happened, it's how it happens. And ultimately not living up to the ideals that I see myself as now. Obviously, you got to give yourself grace to a 18-year-old, a 22-year-old is different.
Yeah.
But that was really insightful, and I really appreciate you sharing that story.
Yeah.
All these gems and more on the More in Common podcast. I'm Gerren Taylor. That's Keith Richardson, joined again by my man Jonathan Pry, combat veteran, author, founder of the Caterpillar Leadership Institute, and one of 14 asterisk siblings from New York City.
Yeah, asterisk matters. Yeah, one of 14.
So we were talking last episode about everything that you sacrificed along the way. I mean, even your schedule right now, right? Like I think all of us are familiar with the days of back-to-back Zoom calls from the pandemic. For some people, that's still a reality. And giving yourself those grace moments. I also build my schedule in that way. Like there's just, we're putting a window for G in there because there's no way I'm giving you guys back-to-back rolling calls all day, every time. But after everything that you've sacrificed, everything that you've given up, what keeps you here? What keeps you in this work? What is it for you?
Yeah, it's the life change. Story time, Gerren, Keith, right? We're going back right into it. So I do events, right? The Caterpillar Leadership Institute does these workshops, mobile labs. We do some corporate, some individual, but mostly it's catching people where they are. But this is what keeps me in it. And they're like just moments that happen, right? And as for all your event planner listeners, the ones who are always in production mode in their mind, there's usually a moment in time where it's like, okay, I got it. So we were doing this an event called a speed networking event, teaching young people how to network, right? And they wear these suits and these gowns, and they're kind of in character. There's employers, there's volunteers, and it's just mock interviewing, right? Think of like speed dating, but you've got a clock. You've got people who are fake interviewing you for jobs that don't exist. And so before this event, I go into the bathroom because I'm the host, and I'm freshening up, and I see a young man, probably 21, 22 years old, and he's in there, and his back's to the wall, his back's to the door, and he's fooling with something. I turn him around. I'm like, hey man, you all right? And he's sweating profusely. He's in tears, and he's got his shirt, blouse, top couple buttons open, and he's fooling with a tie. And he looks at me, and he looks me in the eye, and he says, sir, no one's ever taught me how to tie a tie. And talk about a gut punch, right? Because I'm in the mode of production. I'm in the mode of it's got to be perfect. It's got to look the part. It's got to seem a part. And this kid is worried. His biggest fear isn't if he can do well in the interview. His biggest fear is that no one's ever shown me how to do this. I don't even know how to look the part. How can I get the part if I can't even look the part in his mind? And it was in that moment, Gerren, where I said, okay, who cares about the event? Yeah, you want it to look good, but it's the individual stories of people we reach who this matters to them because the rest of their life depends on how you meet them in that moment. If I would have walked out and said, "Hey man, well, try to YouTube it," and left, what is the story that kid is telling? And unfortunately, I haven't followed up with him, but that's what keeps me in it, right? I was at another event briefly. I'll share this where I was talking to youth, right? 13 to 18. And we were talking about the storyteller's edge, which is a part of what the SOAR mindset teaches is how do you own and tell a story, but not just tell it, but how do you get people to mobilize off of it? And we were talking about broken homes. And there was this young girl, 13 or 14 years old, and she said, we were talking about broken homes and we were talking about the foster care, and we are going through the data and the storytelling, this and that. And she ends this bit and says, "You know why I know this is a real issue to people?" And she's talking to her peers. She says, "Because I survived a broken home and I survived an abusive household, and it matters to me." And that's how she walked away. She dropped the mic and walked away. Like, those are the moments. Yeah, I want to make a lot of money. Yeah, I want to win and have this global company that people recognize. Yes, I want to someday be this global renowned brand that is a thought leader on national conventions. But I want to matter to that young lady. I want to matter to that young man I met in the bathroom. Right? Not weird, I promise. Right?
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
that's why I do it. Yeah.
Didn't
Not
hear
weird.
it that way until
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said it was weird. And then it was like, oh, I hear it. I heard it.
Yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah,
weird.
I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
it.
Uh-huh.
but that's true. I mean, I feel that and I honor that in the sense of all the accolades in the world that you can get, nothing matters like those individual connective moments, you know, those individual seeing somebody win kind of things, or being able to bless somebody, you know, when they need it, when they need that second help or that kind word. And you never know how you impact them, right? Like you said, unfortunately, you don't know where that kid is now, but I bet you he remembers that.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
I think like that point going into something we talked about in the production meeting and like how we keep going on these things is this idea of system changing how we think about things. I mean, that's what More in Common is all about. It's not changing what we think. It's not changing. It's just changing the act of thinking to be more to just open your mind to all of the possibilities of any circumstance at any time. Get out of binary thinking. Get out of results oriented processing, because so many of us, when you do something that you feel connected to, that you just know this is the thing, more often than not, you don't see the outcomes. You said it in episode 1, as long as you're not doing harm. You don't see, like, we don't report back. It's not a common thing to report back and say, hey, you did this for me. Unless you cross paths and you see him at some event in the future and he's like, hey, do you remember that? And that changed me. But we don't get into those situations. We do have to go based on this idea that, like, what we're doing is for the betterment and whatever the outcome, as long as we're leading to positive impact. Because if you don't sit with that belief, and I think this is something you talk about, you've mentioned in the last couple episodes, where I actually have a great admiration for people who have faith, because it is the faith that is, and not necessarily just a spiritual element, like the faith that what you're doing is positively affecting people, because we don't see the results. We just don't. You're not going to. And that's okay.
It's
Right?
it's almost like the conundrum of Yelp reviews. Like, people are way more likely to leave a review when they have a negative experience than when they have a positive experience. They kind of just take the positive experience and go with it and go with their day. But if you have a negative experience, you're like, oh, they're going to hear about this, and they can't wait to do that.
Yeah. And it's interesting that the Yelp example, because what does it then lead the organization to do? it leads them to go out and fish for 5 stars. So it's almost forced, right? Again, it is a conundrum. And um both of your comments tie to what this quote I learned. This quote is an Abraham Lincoln quote. It's one of the ones that just sticks with me, right? He said it when a reporter asked him why is it so important to keep the union together, and what happens if what happens if you burn this bridge with this state, this state, or this state? And he simply replies and says something to the effect of, let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us dare to do our duty to the best of our understanding. Like, that's what you just said, Keith, right? Like, let us have faith. And it can be faith in God. It can be faith in humanity. It can be faith in the common good, the more in common that we all have. It can be faith in the better angels of our nature, right? It could be faith that we are part of something greater than us. But let's have faith to just freaking do our job, man. Like, don't worry about the negative, the expectations, the burdens, the weights that are put on us. Like, just do what you can. You can't represent everyone who came before you. You cannot represent everyone who will go after you. You can represent yourself in this moment and just do the job to the best of your understanding and let it be what it will be. And I think that is the strength of everything I am trying to build. Like, forget the scripted butterfly that comes out. Like, who are you designed and created to be? For me, it's that created by God. I believe God has given me but a destiny to transform into something that can draw other people to his kingdom. And with that faith, I now build the Caterpillar Leadership Institute. With that faith, every opportunity I can, I share my faith with people. With that faith, I don't curse you out, or if I can help you, I will. And I won't cut you out. I won't murder you, because I believe, right? Like, all of my value systems are based on this faith that God has empowered me to do the job the best way I can. And through that empowerment and through that faith, I can now be a decent person. I can be a good citizen. I can be a good father, a good son, a good brother, a good husband, a good this, a good that, right? Like, I think that is the conundrum of the Yelp review, because if I care enough about doing my job to your liking, I'm going to ask you to give me positive star reviews. I'm going to ask you not to write a negative star review. If I'm going to trust that I'm doing the job to the best of my understanding, I'm going to live with whatever experience you get from me. Right? Like, maybe you caught me on a bad day, maybe you caught me on a good day, but this is me, right?
So,
like, that, I think, is the conundrum.
To that point, was there ever a moment where you're like, nah, this isn't it, dog? Like, I'm you know what? I bit off too much, pull back, like, or, you were talking earlier in the last episode about the burnout or rust out. Is there a place where you felt like you were approaching that or got close?
Yeah. Maybe I'm saying more than I should, but I'm in it today. Today,
I honor
right?
that.
Like, I deeply believe that this path I am on is going to be the path I ride to my death, right? In some form or fashion. And that's not a premature death, right? So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I am on this path.
50 years from now.
Yeah,
90
years.
in the 90s. Yeah.
I'm on this path where I believe, and I know in my heart of hearts, that God has placed me in the right path. And I cannot build it the way it's intended to be built if I'm building a company with somebody else. If I'm working a job for some other name, and at some point soon, I don't know if it's today, it might be today, it might be this conversation is my prompt, but at some point, I'm going to look myself in the mirror and say, if you believe in everything you're telling other people to believe in, then you're not going to hold fast to the caterpillar phase. Like, you got to go into your cocoon. And it's going to be a step on faith. And Keith and I, actually, this is something Keith, I don't know if I could share this. You can edit me out.
Go for it. You can share a prior conversation. Yeah.
one of the things that I knew I needed to be in the orbit with Keith in our very first conversation was how we met and just kind of this journey he was on, right? That you're on, Keith. You know, you said something to me that it stuck with me, and you were talking about how you are selectively choosing your next step, and that you tried the entrepreneurial thing, you tried the work for a company thing, and that you kind of arrived at a destination where you can do one thing, you can do a lot of things, but you are very intentional with where you go next. That spoke to me in a season on a day where I was not having my best day. And I met you for the first time. And that message to me fed me in a way that you can do multiple. I mean, hell, you can do anything, right? I can go get any job. But to really live out my purpose, I've got to do the job that is for me in this season. And I think that's the answer to the question. Like, I have a full-time job that pays my bills, pays insurance, it pays for the lifestyle I live. But I have an eagle in the tree that if when I grab it and when I go, it's going to feed not just me, but the generations around me. Right. But I've got to let go of these birds. I can't climb that tree with one hand. Like, I got to get out the boat. I got to walk on water. I got to have faith that when I do, the ground will hold. And that's the season I'm in. And it's going to happen soon. And maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe next 10 years. But I'm no longer living my life to some plan that's laid out for me. I'm going to where there's no path, and I'm building a plan.
I want to take a trip back a little bit to the time. Well, as we mentioned, you were working at Empower, and there's, in the pre-calls in our discussion, there's, 37 people that get promoted from the kind of work that you were doing. Are there anything about working with that group? Because we're talking mostly veterans, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, veterans and young adults. So some non-military connected.
Is there something that you would want one of those 37 people to say about you when you're not in the room?
Yeah. Yeah. I want them to say, what a question. Good question. I want them to say, any one of them to say, they didn't know it was possible, whatever it is. They didn't know it was possible for them until they met me. That's what I want them to say. They didn't know it was possible for them until they met me.
And that they're it, whatever their it is.
Whatever their it is, correct.
Is there a particular story from the 37 that stands out? And not necessarily the most dramatic or the person that went through the most, but is there something that you remember, someone that you remember from that experience?
Man, there's so many, man. I would use a lot of time. Let me see. What is one? Yeah, Big Chris. Big Chris, my man, Big Chris. And he can hear this story, and he'll appreciate it. Big Chris, this is not at Empower. This is my job before when I was in corporate. I was a branch manager. This Big Chris was a welder, pretty damn good welder at that. And he was from New Orleans. He dropped out of high school, didn't have a college degree. But Chris was like a hustler, man. Like, he's a grinder. And I knew right away, I'm like, Chris, you are in the wrong role. He said, man, I'm a welder. This is what I do. I weld. And I'm like, nah, Chris, you are more, man. Give me time. Like, let me figure out what more means. And Chris and I spent time. I go out in the yard with him. He'd weld. He'd kind of teach me how the ropes. I was not a yard worker. I was a branch manager, but I would make it intentional point to go spend time with Chris every chance I could. And I would see him upsell like welding types to his teammates. Like, hey, don't tack weld, do this weld or do that weld. And he would explain why. And I'm like, Chris, I got it. You need to be a salesman. He said, man, get the, choice words, New Orleans, true New Orleans boy down it. Yeah. This man was like, there's no way they won't take me. I don't have a degree. I didn't even finish high school. I can't even speak. I can't articulate. I got the Southern New Orleans drawl. And I'm like, Chris, you're a salesman. He was like, nah, man. So I help him. This is before AI. So I help him create a resume, right? We polish it up. I go to HR. They're like, no way in hell. This guy don't even have a high school diploma, right? He's a welder. I'm like, I'm telling you, he's going to not just be a salesman, but he's going to be the best one. They're like, no way. I'm pushing him. I'm pushing him. I get him an interview. And Chris is doubting, like, nah, there's no way, man. They're going to see right through me. I'm like, Chris, this job is made for you. Go claim your territory, man. Long story short, Chris got the job. First deal he made, he's like, okay, that was a fluke. Second deal he made, it was a fluke. Third deal he made was a fluke. It wasn't until he was the sales rep of the month for this entire organization, 1,000 employees for the month. Like this guy was it top selling person. And it happened within a year that he comes up to me and Chris is at the time, and Chris don't hate me, but he's about 350, 375 and comes into this room, picks me up, bear hugs me. And it was like, bro, you did it. You saw me, man. You saw something in me. I didn't see it. No one saw it. My wife didn't see it. You saw it. And not only did you see it, but you forced me to keep trying to get it. And because of it, I've made more money in this month than I've made in my entire single year, my life, a year throughout my entire working life. I made more in this month than I've made in a year, right? In any single job I've had because of that. And that's not my claim. That my claim in this story is that all I did was validate it, something that he did well. So I hope Chris would say, yes, I'm here because of you saw something in me. Go ahead, Keith. Long story, but go ahead.
No, I mean, it's such a great story to reflect on a lot of things that are relevant to leadership and everything that you're doing, and just this opportunity to keep going. That's the episode. That's this episode. Like, what keeps us going? And we all have opportunities to see in others what they don't see in themselves. We all have opportunities to see the positive momentum of affecting 1, 2, 3, 4, despite not affecting 5, 6, 7, 8, right? The impact that can have in anybody that you interact with. It doesn't have to be as profound or dedicated as you just laid out either. In this nature of that question, and I sent this to Gerren this morning. I didn't even think about it until this story started coming up. And I was like, Gerren, you and I need to record an episode about this sentiment. And lo and behold, here it is. This, it's a baseball Facebook thing that just happened in my feed. And it was somebody that wrote, a friend coached a player for 3 travel seasons. This season, the family said they couldn't afford to play. So he waived all fees and helped with hotels. 3 weeks later, the player left for another team. That's the kind of thing that makes good people think twice about helping. And it's that conclusion. That's the broken systems thinking. Don't let that one prevent you from helping. This is everything that you were talking about before. Know you're on your right path. You're living the best. Hey, if helping that kid means you're going to help the next kid because that's the person you are, regardless of the outcome, that's what we're talking about. And the judgment, the perception of these negative situations shouldn't be reflected on everybody else. It's the judgment of the negative should be, yeah, I'm probably not going to help him again, right? Like, I don't know if I could do that person a favor, but don't let it change who you are just because one person didn't have the outcome that you want. Lean on the one person that had the outcome that you want, because that's what it's all about. And if more of us can persevere through that, the better off each of us will allow each other to be. We'll find our own people. We'll find the right people around us. We'll be in we'll shape our inner circles and our concentric circles thereafter. And the Venn diagram will become more overlapping than it is today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we did this thread about the gap between who we are as hosts and practitioners of, and what we talk about doing on this show. what's the most important thing that you would say to somebody that someone can do who's trying to close the gap between who they are and who they're trying to be?
Never stop learning, man. You have to, and I tell people this, right? And I still mentor many folks. You can't accept enough, right? Like there's more, and not necessarily materialistic more. It's like there's more. There's more to strive towards, right? So never get comfortable, because I think comfort is I think not, I think it's been said, what comfort's the enemy of, I don't know, something like to that effect. You guys probably know
That's what I
comfort's the
heard.
enemy of progress or something, or complacency is the enemy of progress or something. But I think the answer is never stop learning about people, never stop learning about worldviews, especially in America today. It is so polarized, man. Like it's hard to be optimistic American. And I'm not talking politics. This is not an invitation, but I'm going to respond.
Nope.
She's like, fade.
Gerren's like, come on, let's go. Let's open. I'll just say this, right, about politics and my political views. We are nearing 250 years of our country's birth, right? Um, and it's hard for all people, all Americans today, to be optimistic about that, right? Like 250 years, that's great. Yeah. The world is more than 250 years old, right? Like there are European countries that have houses older than our country's been in place, right? There are kingdoms and castles that are older than our entire country. We are not the whole world, right? But in America, we think sometimes we get into this path that like, you're only Democrat, you're only Republican, you're only right, you're only left. And if we're not careful, we can believe that. And it's a scary
Mm.
prospect for our country when we are just, I'm a right-winged Republican in the state of this state, and I believe in this, and this, and this. I'm voting down ballot. I'm a left Democrat in this state, and I believe this, and this, and I'm voting down ballot. Our country, listen to this, our country isn't even as old as houses in Europe. And we are but one nation on this world, on this globe, in this world. And if we think we know enough to know everything we need to know, then we have doomed ourselves in our future, and we've bankrupted our kids and our
Yeah, I don't
grandkids.
want to get too deep down that rabbit hole either, but I will say this. When the Iranian war started and they were like, guys, we've been here forever. You're
Yes.
just getting on the block, like you might want to take a chill pill. You might want to back up. And I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
that's actually, big facts. Like if you read a history book, we're talking ancient history here. They've been around, but that's neither here nor there for what we're doing here. I totally agree about the perspectives, and we did a arc on this too about how these things became load-bearing identities for people.
Yes.
And
yeah.
that if you separate the politics for some folks, like they don't even know who they are anymore, and how we get back from that. And you gave us the permission slip example, and I'm going to put one more task on you before we get out of here. You've been so kind to give us this time and share so much about yourself, and honestly, I feel like we're much closer now, not only as a guest, but like as a human. This
That's
connection thing that we're working on is going really well. But if you're talking to the audience, and instead of just, we talked about the framework, what else is something tangible that you want people to do this week to take away from it? Just, a human thing that helps improve connection.
Yeah. Gosh, another good question. Easy. Do this tomorrow. And I kind of gave a prelude to this. Practice intentional praise, right?
Yeah.
I have an opportunity to go to work. I have an opportunity to have kids, right? To raise kids. I have an opportunity to join you two amazing leaders and men, great men, on a podcast and share my opinion. I have I get to do that. I don't have to do that, right? I get to go barbecue. I'm gonna smoke a brisket here after work for 4th of July. I'm gonna smoke it 2 days.
I want
It's a
some.
24-hour smoke. Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
Texas.
I know. I'm smoking. This thing is gonna be bad too, boy. But I get to do these things, man, and like we just get so caught up in the I must. So practice that. Practice the permission slip first. Give yourself permission. Give yourself grace to be imperfect, and then practice intentional praise every single day. It is, there are millions, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people who did not wake up this morning. You did. So be like, don't just be grateful, be intentionally grateful. Like, God, I'm sick, but I made it through. Right? Like that's not resilience, perseverance. That's resilience and abundance. Like there's a difference there.
And
Right?
I
Like
want to highlight
practice
that too,
intentional
because
praise.
the abundance thing is absolutely a choice that you make when you look at
That's
your
right.
world every day.
Yeah.
You know, you can look at it as lack, or you can look at it as I got enough to keep rolling, baby. You know, like
Yeah.
we're still out here, we still trying to make it happen. And
Yeah.
the gratitude thing, I think, is another huge indexing point for you. You receive those blessings as you give them. You know,
That's right.
and being thankful for what you receive is the best way to say that you're ready for more.
And one more thing to that point, so many people, this adage, and this is abundance. This fake it till you make it is a curse. I can't stand that phrase, right? And even the root meaning behind it, I think is terrible. But this idea that like I have to smile until I make it out of the storm. So I can't really, I gotta be like fake grateful. Like, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there is a difference. There is from an etymology perspective, the word happiness and contentment are two different things. I can be unhappy while being content, right? It doesn't mean that I am saying, man, I just hate, give me more beatings, boss, right? Like that adage of beatings will continue until morale improves.
Improves, right?
Yeah, like no, like I can be unhappy in the state I'm in. I can, but I can be content. Contentment is the abundance mindset. The resilience is, man, it sucks right now, bro. But the storm will break and I will be okay. And I can intentionally welcome this season I'm in because it's a season. It means it's cyclical. It means it's going to start and it's going to stop. Right. And so intentionally, I can show gratitude to things that I am unhappy about because I am content in the state I am growing towards. That's the difference between happiness and contentment. So when I say intentional gratitude, don't fake it till you make it and kill that mentality if that's what you have. What I'm saying is accept that a season may not always be summer or spring. Sometimes you're in winter, but after winter comes spring. So like that's the contentment versus the happiness, fake happiness.
Can I put some Lauryn Hill right there?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Well, my man, dude, it's been a great journey these last few weeks with you, Jonathan. Really appreciate you making this happen, the scheduling, the timing, joining us. So many more places I'd love to go and keep this conversation going. So we should do that off podcast anyway. But in the meantime, I just want to say thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, we'll have to do a check back in, man. You laid a lot of groundwork, so we're gonna have to check back in with Jonathan down the line, make sure you're doing good. I've
got a lot of things on the hopper for July and August, so let's definitely check back in because it may be a completely different conversation, and I may be in that new state.
Get all this shit. I was kidding.
Oh yeah, more to come for sure, guys. I really appreciate y'all both, and to your listeners, man. This is the real one. So stay with it and tell your friends about More in Common. We need it. We need to be more in common. So thank y'all, man.
Man, we appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. This is the More in Common podcast. I'm Gerren Taylor. That's Keith Richardson. Jonathan, we'll see you soon. Thank you again for blessing us with your time, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yes.